Hello and welcome to the Stories of Northern Life by the Sault Ste. Marie Museum. There are many artists that came to the Sault to capture the stories of Northern life. And in the 1800s, that looked a lot different than today. If it weren't for these artists writing, painting, or illustrating in some way, we would have very little resources in understanding the way of life. In the upcoming episodes, I will be going through a number of artists that stopped or stayed a while in Sault Ste. Marie and captured moments in time for us to admire and learn from for years to come. So let's get into it. Our first artist is the British-born Anna Jameson. She visited Sault Ste. Marie in 1837 at 43 years old, where she wrote, illustrated, shot the rapids, and made meaningful connections. Though she did not paint like the rest of the artists I will be talking about in this series, she was a writer, feminist, and art historian. She was a governess for many years, which means that she was employed as a private tutor who teaches and trains a child or children in their home. Unlike a nanny, her role was to teach and not care for their physical needs. But similarly, she most likely lived with the families in which she was governess. She later married, and she wrote about how unhappy of a marriage it was. But her career was where she found happiness. Anna was gaining success as a writer in England, and by that point, she was living apart from her husband for 4 years. But eventually the time came when he called upon her to move to Canada to be with him, as he had been appointed to the Court of Chancery of the province of Upper Canada in 1836. That was a pretty big role. And yes, there was an Upper and Lower Canada from 1791 to 1841, with the capital of Upper Canada being Toronto. She traveled to Toronto on her own, and when she got there, she strongly disliked it all, but found the upper parts of Upper Canada much more enjoyable. She traveled all over what is now Ontario and some of the states, which tells me that even though she was on the same continent as her husband, she did her best to be nowhere near him. While staying on Mackinac Island, she was offered the opportunity to hop on a boat to Sault Ste. Marie. She zoomed to pack her bags, and in an hour, she was on her way. Anna was immediately entranced by the might and beauty of the rapids. She wrote, "The St. Mary's Rapids were like an exquisite, beautiful woman in a rage, but with no terror in the anger, only the sense of excitement and loveliness," comparing it to the monstrous tiger at play, which was the Niagara Rapids. She was the first European to ever shoot the rapids. Though she did not go down the rapids alone, she had an Indigenous man take her in his boat. She sat at the back with no fear, just pure excitement. The other thing she found impressive in this area was the whitefish. She apparently ate it 4 times a day and wrote that it was the best tasting fish she had ever had. Upon safely reaching the shore at the bottom of the rapids, she celebrated with her new Indigenous friends, who were delighted by Anna's daring and determination. She was declared to be duly initiated as an honorary member of the Chippewa tribe and adopted into the family by the name of Washagiwanokwa, which according to Anna translates roughly as woman of the white foam. Miss Jameson's stay in the Sault was short, but she established many close relationships while in the area. After departing, she traveled first by bateau to the Manitoulin Islands, followed by journeys to several islands in Lake Huron, before finally traveling back to Toronto. In 1838, she returned to England, where she published Winter Studies and Summer Rambles in Canada. We have a copy in the collection here at the Sault Museum, but it can also be found easily online in large digital archives for you to read. Her book is sprinkled with progressive feminist views, class conflicts, and race relations. She devoted a great portion of her life to educational and social reforms for women, especially in her later years. She did her best to express the trueness of life of people she came across in her travels for the world she came from to understand. Through her words, she was able to express an appreciation for natural resources in Canada and put our name on the map. I think her story goes to show just how much you can learn from travel and fully immersing yourself in the lives of different people and cultures. It can transcend your points of view and in turn can give you a greater sense of self. Anna Jameson knew herself and her worth. She, like all humans, probably had a lot of fear in doing what she did, but she used that fear to motivate herself to achieve great things. She is another woman in Sault Ste. Marie history I wish I could have met. I hope you learn a little bit more about Sault Ste. Marie history and the people that influenced it. Thank you so much for listening. Ciao!